Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna to all. Thank you that you came today. Today is our day 6. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitamina Bhutale Swayam Pakadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandaham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajyatam Sahagana Raghunathanam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Svakutam Parijna Sihitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padanta Bhaganavanta Shri Shakantamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandha Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavneshwari Varishabhanu Sudevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpaturubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Vachidanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavati Paschatadashina. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna to all of you. Today is our chapter 6, and chapter 6 is called Dhyana Yoga. And Dhyana means concentration, so it is concentration. Dhyana means concentration. So what is yoga? What does yoga mean? Meaning of yoga. Who knows meaning of yoga? Please raise your hand. Hare Krishna, Amruta, unmute, Amruta.
Prabhuji, yoga means connecting to God, Prabhuji.
Yes, very good, Amruta, very good. So yoga means connecting to God. Good. Does it look like yoga? Kushi? Unmute, Kushi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Is it looking like yoga?
It is yoga, but physical yoga, not connecting to God.
Yes.
It's a spiritual yoga.
So there's some kind of exercises, but it's looking like yoga, but actually it is not yoga. So this is also not yoga, and this is not yoga too. This is also not yoga, and this is also not yoga, but they call it goat yoga. So people call this goat yoga, so they put goat on a woman, and she's staying with goat on her back. And this is office yoga, when elders are tired and they're doing some kind of exercises and for relief. So they feel pain and they do office yoga. And we also have yoga for physical and mental health, chair yoga, yoga for cats, yoga for wellness, like chair yoga. Take care of your background sound. So then desktop yoga, yoga secret for business success, yoga weight loss and you, office yoga, and even tennis yoga is here. So all these types of yogas They are not yoga. So it is just looking like yoga, but it has nothing to do with yoga. Real yoga means connecting to God. And today we'll study Dhyana yoga, or Dhyana yoga also is called sometimes Ashtanga yoga. So what is Ashtanga yoga? Ashta Anga yoga. Ashta means 8, Anga means limb or part, and yoga means connection. So this connection through 8 parts. So we have 8 parts of Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga consists of 8 parts: Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So first is Yama, external disciplines, then Niyama, internal discipline, Asana, posture, meditation. Asana, so it's some posture. So generally people consider asana and pranayama as yoga, but it is not yoga. So asana, it's some postures, people do some posture. Then pranayama, breath control, so they control their breath. Pratyahara, withdrawal of senses. So they fully control their senses. Dharana, they concentrate their mind. Dhyana, meditative absorption. And last one is the culmination of everything, and it's samadhi, union or integration, when person sees Supreme Lord within his heart. So he's getting darshan of the Paramatma in his heart. Okay, so let us read now about all these 8 parts. Who can read? Who wants to read? Please raise your hand. Nobody wants to read? Okay. Can you read Purba? Hare Krishna Purba, please unmute Purba.
Hare
Yes, please unmute.
uh,
Please read Purba. Yama.
yeah, he should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. Nimaya, temperate in his habits of eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. Asana, lay, I think it's on Sanskrit. Lay kusagras on the ground, or lay kusagras on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin. The seat should neither be too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me, pranayama. Practice stopping the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at
And thus he remains in a trance.
remains in trance. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you for about. So what this person who practices Ashtanga Yoga, what he should do? So he should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. So he has to stay away from everybody. He has to be alone in a secluded place. For example, in a forest or in another place. And he has to carefully control his mind. He has to regulate his habits of eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. So he is also laying kusha grass on the ground and covered with deer skin. But this seat should not be neither tall, neither too high, or neither too low. Because if the seat is very high or very low, person will fall asleep. So he will start sleeping. And sleeping should not present in the Ashtanga Yoga. And one should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. So he has to half close his eyes and look at the tip of the nose. But if he fully closes his eyes, he again will fall asleep. So sleeping should not present during the Ashtanga Yoga. And then, completely free from sex life, he should meditate upon me. So he controls his mind, his unagitated subject mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life. He should meditate upon Krishna, upon God. Okay. And then pranayama. So person controls his breathing. So he's stopping the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and vice versa. So he controls his breath. Okay. Next. Harshita. Can you read Harshita? Harshita. Kirtipriya. Can you please unmute Kirtipriya?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please read.
Pratyaharak, cessation of material existence. Dharana, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires. He is said to have attained yoga. Dhyana, as a lamp in a windless place, does not waver, so the transcendentalist whose mind is controlled remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. Samadhi. One is never shaken even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries and miseries arising from material contact.
Thank you very much. And Pratyahara, so cessation of material existence. Then Dharana, so person disciplines his mental activities and he is devoid of all material desires. So he's free from all material desires. And then Dhyana, he remains always steady in his meditation. And then he gets Samadhi and he gets darshan of the Lord in his heart. So he gets darshan of the Lord within his heart. Okay. So person is sitting in a secluded place, in mountain or in the forest, and he's controlling his mind, and he's sitting on the kusha grass, which is covered by deer skin. He tries to control his mind. So, are you willing to give this yoga system a try? So, do you want to try this Ashtanga yoga? Do you want to try this Ashtanga yoga? So, if you want to try this Ashtanga yoga, please raise your hand. Okay, so please don't feel shy, don't hesitate. If you want to try this Ashtanga yoga, please raise your hand. Hare Krishna, Purva, unmute Purva. Yes, Kushi, unmute, Vani. Yes. Purva, unmute.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Do you want to try this Ashtanga yoga?
Yes.
Okay. Vani,
Yes,
so you also raise your hand.
yes, Prabhuji.
So you also want to try this Ashtanga yoga?
Yes,
Okay. Hare Krishna, Amruta. Do you want to try the Ashtanga yoga, Amruta?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So you also want to try Ashtanga yoga. Okay. Harshita,
Prabhuji?
do you want to practice Ashtanga yoga or Dhyana yoga?
Yes, Guruji.
Okay, Okay. Kushi?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Same question to you. Do you want to practice this Dhyana yoga? Unmute.
But it would mean that I would have to take sannyas, right?
No sannyasas. No, that just don't think about sannyas now. So just little think about it. Do you want to practice this Dhyana yoga or Ashtanga yoga, or you don't want? Only this question.
I would like to practice it.
Good. Rishabh, Hare Krishna Rishabh.
Hare Krishna.
So do you want to try this Dhyana yoga?
Yes.
Hare Krishna Vani, who's on mute?
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
So would you like to try this Dhyana yoga or Ashtanga yoga?
I would like to try Dhyana Yoga.
Okay. Okay, somewhere other, everybody wants to try this Dhyana yoga or Ashtanga yoga. But why you want to try this Ashtanga yoga? So questions. I have a question. Why you want to try this Ashtanga yoga? Ashtanga yoga is very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult. So you have to sit alone in a secluded place, like, for example, in a forest. But there is no forest presently. It's deforestation is happening here. So there is no forest. And there is also no free time. So all of you go to college or to school, or you may be working. So waste of time to practice Ashtanga yoga. And also, you can see if you sit alone, there are different animals who can kill you, like tigers. You can see here, tigers. So if you're sitting and suddenly the tiger will approach you and will start chastising you, it's not good, no? It's not good, no, if you be killed by tiger without your knowing also. You cannot have food which you can have now. For example, rice sabji dal and parota or something like that is not available when you're doing Dhyana yoga or Ashtanga yoga. You can have only fruits or just some leaves, little water, and that's it. Luxury items are not allowed there, not permitted, not allowed. And we also do not have such a health to practice this Ashtanga yoga because our health is not so strong to do it. And on the top of that, there are so many viruses coming every day, like coronavirus. There's so many viruses appearing every day, like coronavirus and so many other dangerous diseases. And also, this people, they practice a lot of tapasya or a lot of austerity. So in summer, they sit under the sun. So they create a fire and sit in the fire under the sun. And they put very, very hot pot on their head. So, and they sit like that for a long time. That is in summer. But in winter, when it's very, very cold, they come and stay in the water, in the river, till their neck. So water reach their neck. So till their neck, they stay in the water when it's very, very cold. And people who practice this Ashtanga yoga, they use deer skin. So they have kusha grass, but they covered with deer skin. And we cannot kill animals just for this, to take their skin. And last one more reason, is that our mind is very, very disturbed. So we cannot sit peacefully even 1 minute. Mind is running here and there. But in Ashtanga yoga, person has to be full absorbed. And In our age, it is not possible because our mind is very, very disturbed. We have a lot of anxieties and it's very, very disturbed. But the most important reason is that even Arjuna gave up this Ashtanga Yoga. So he said that I don't want to practice this Ashtanga Yoga. So you can see, also Arjuna had very, very great focus. When he was a small boy, his guru told him to shoot a bird. And so Dronacharya called Pandavas and Kauravas, and he asked them what you can see. Kauravas said, we can see sun, we can see sky, we can see tree. Pandavas also said, we can see grass, we can see tree. Only Arjuna said, I can see only the eye of the bird. So he saw the eye of the bird, and then he shot that eye of the bird with his arrow. And then he shot another object. And Arjuna knows how to live in the forest. He got used to live in the forest with his brothers. He had lived in the forest for some time. So even though Arjuna has very, very great focus, he has very, very great concentration, and he also knows how to live in a forest, he still doesn't want to practice this Ashtanga Yoga. He said, for me, it's very, very difficult. I cannot do that. And Arjuna also fought with Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva was very happy and satisfied with Arjuna's abilities of fighting. And who is Arjuna? In actuality, Arjuna is not ordinary man like we are. He's incarnation of God. So we have incarnation of God called Nara and Narayana Rishi. So Arjuna is Nara and Krishna is Narayana. So Arjuna is direct associate of Krishna, direct associate of God. But despite all these qualifications, he still doesn't want to practice this Ashtanga Yoga. Chanchalam Himana Krishna, Pramati Balavadidam, Tasyaham Nigraham Manye, Vayor Ivasudushkaram. So we also should follow Arjuna's footsteps, and we also should not practice this Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, because Arjuna rejected it. Amruta, can you read Amruta?
Yes, Prabhuji. But the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think it is more difficult than controlling the wind.
Yes, Arjuna is very great, but even Arjuna considers that controlling the mind is very, very difficult. It's more difficult than controlling the wind. So nobody can control wind, but to control mind is even more difficult. Harshita, please read. Harshita.
The blessed Lord said, O my great armed son of Kunti, it is the undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by constant practice and by detachment. For one whose mind is unbreakable, self-realization is difficult work, but is whose mind is controlled and whose steps by right means is assured of success.
So the blessed Lord said, also it's very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it's possible by constant practice and by detachment. So we still can control our mind by constant practice and by detachment. If we do not control our mind, self-realization we never will be able to achieve. But if we can control our mind, we can achieve self-realization. So is mind your friend or an enemy? So is mind your friend or enemy? Ushe?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. If my mind is uncontrolled, then it is my enemy. If it is controlled, then it is my friend.
Purba? Please unmute Purba.
Same Prabhuji. If my mind is uncontrollable, then enemy, and if controllable, then friend.
So in our present time, our mind sometimes is our friend and sometimes it's enemy. But mostly this enemy. Presently it's our enemy. But if we can control it, it will be our friend. Rishabh, please read. Rishabh.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. For him who has conquered the mind is best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his very mind will be the greatest enemy. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Rishabh. Hare Krishna. So when we conquer our mind, it will be our best friend. But if we fail to conquer our mind, it will be our greatest enemy. So we have to control our mind, we have to conquer it. So what we should do to be able to conquer our mind? Who knows? Please raise your hand. So how can conquer our mind? Nobody knows. Okay. Yes, Rishabh, unmute.
We can conquer the mind by meditating.
And what kind of meditation is that?
Chanting.
Yes, chanting of the holy names. Very good. So by chanting of the holy names, we can conquer our mind. Very nice session, very good. So you gave correct answer. So by chanting of the holy names, we can gradually conquer our mind. So it is possible by chanting of the holy names. And now, what is the destination of someone who fails in achieving success in yoga? So if somebody practices yoga, but he failed, so he fell down, so what will happen with such a yogi? Shubham, read Shubham. Shubham. Vani, please. Shubham, read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
After many years of enjoyment on the planet of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. He takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Verily, such a birth is rare in this world. Hare Krishna.
So if person failed in his yoga, he will go to paradise, he will go to heavenly planets, and he will enjoy there. He will enjoy there, and after some time, he will be born into a family of rich people, or he will be born into a family of very highly spiritually elevated people. So in a very great family of transcendentalists. So he'll go to heavenly planets, and after that he will be born into a family of very rich people, or he will be born into a family of very spiritually elevated people. Okay. So you can see this is yoga ladder here. This is karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, and bhakti yoga. So all other yogas are progression towards the destination of bhakti yoga. So bhakti yoga is the highest, topmost, best of all. Bhakti yoga. So for us, no need to do karma yoga or dhyana yoga or ashtanga yoga. We directly should start from bhakti yoga. And how we can start bhakti yoga? By chanting all the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you can see this woman, she's holding beads. So we also should chant Hare Krishna mantra. Okay. And who is the best yogi? So now let us understand who is the best yogi. Can you please read Vani?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And of all yogis, he would always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving services, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all.
So yogi who always abides in Krishna with great faith, so who always worships Krishna with great faith, who also worships Krishna in transcendental loving service, so person who is doing devotion service to Krishna, so such a person is very intimately united with Krishna in yoga and the highest of all. Okay, so person who does bhakti yoga, so in other words, person who does bhakti yoga, he is the highest or he is the best yogi. Okay. So you can see here, this is picture from spiritual world. So this is Krishna and his brother Balaram, and most of them are playing with their friends. I have for you one more another presentation today about yoga. Yoga spiritual practice. Different yoga practices for different yugas. Kriteya Diyato Vishnu, Tretayam Yajitom Makkai, Dvapare Paricharyayam, Kalautat Harikirtanat. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam 12.3.52. So all of you know there are 4 yugas. So can you name the 4 yugas? Who knows 4 yugas? 4 yugas. Pushi.
Satya Yug, Dwapar Yug, Treta Yug, and Kali Yug.
Yes, but Satya Yuga, then Treta Yuga, Dvapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. You changed the name, but everything's correct. So first of all, Satya Yuga, then Treta Yuga, then Dvapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And in which yuga do we live? In which yuga do we live? Who knows? Who knows?
Kali Yug.
Yes, Kali Yuga.
Kali Yuga.
Yes, Kali Yuga, Kali Yuga. Very good. So you know in which yuga do we live. Good. So for different yugas, there are different yoga practices. So in Sat Yuga, people do meditation on Lord Vishnu, meditation. In Treta Yuga, they do fire sacrifices, fire sacrifice. And in Dvapar Yuga, they do elaborate temple worship, so they do temple worship. And what people do in Kali Yuga? So in Kali Yuga, present age, so people chant holy names of the Lord. So they do the chanting of the holy names. So why we should practice chanting of the holy names? Because only by chanting of the holy names we can get spiritual progress. So chanting is like a lift for us. So as soon as you enter into the building, and if you have to reach the last stage, you will go into the lift, because as soon as you enter the lift, in a second you can reach this last stage. But if you go by staircase, it will take for you a lot of time. So in the same way, only by chanting Hare Krishna mantra we can get spiritual progress. So if you chant holy names, we'll quickly progress in spiritual life, just like by on the lift. But if you do something apart from that, if you do another yoga like Ashtanga yoga or Karma yoga, for us it will take millions and millions of time millions and millions lifetimes to approach the supreme destination. So it will be very, very long. But by chanting all the holy names, we can very quickly reach the supreme destination. So what is mantra? Mantra is man plus tra. Man means mind and tra means to deliver. So this is a transcendental vibration which delivers the mind. So mantra makes mind very strong. And we have two types of mantra. One is when you're sitting and chanting alone or with someone else. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And second is Sankirtan. When you sing Hare Krishna mantra in a group with melody. Something like that maybe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is Sankirtan when you sing in a group with some melody. And you can see people are going outside for the Sankirtan. So they sing Hare Krishna mantra in the streets. And now we'll discuss scriptural references for chanting the holy names of the Lord. So we do not invent this Hare Krishna mantra. We didn't imagine this Hare Krishna mantra. It is prescribed in the scriptures, so therefore we chant Hare Krishna mantra. Dvaparyer Janair Vishnu, Pancharatrastu Kevalai, Kalautu Nama Matrena, Pujyate Bhagavan Harihi. So this verse is from Narayana Samhita. Purva, can you read Purva?
In the age of Kali, people should simply chant the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
In our age of Kali, we just have to simply chant the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we just need only to chant the holy names. Nothing else is needed. This is from Kali Santarana Upanishad. Iti Shodashkanam Namnam, Kali Kalmashanashanam, Natah Paradrapayaha, Sarva Videshu Drishite. So Iti Shodashkanam Namnam, these 16 words, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So these 16 words, Kali Kalmashanashanam, will destroy all the bad effect of Kali Yuga. So Kali Yuga is full of faults. We have so many things like duplicatorship, anger, and so many things. So these 16 words will destroy the bad effect of Kali Yuga. All bad effect will be destroyed by these 16 words. And another method which will be more sublime or which will be better than this, you cannot find in any Vedic literature. This is from Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 17.21. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalon Nasti Eva, Nasti Eva, Nasti Eva Gatir Anyata. Rishab, can you read Rishab?
In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way.
In Kali Yuga, so in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, our age is called sometimes age of quarrel and hypocrisy because people make a lot of quarrels, so they fight because of nothing. So from very, very small things, they start fighting, and they're very much duplicant So they're very much, they have a lot of hypocrisy in them. So in our age, only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So we can become spiritually elevated only by chanting of the holy names. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Kalirdosh Nidaya Rajan, Astihya Kamahan Guna, Kirtanat Eva Krishnasya, Mukti Sangha Paramraja. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto. Shukadeva Goswami explains Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. Shubham, can you read Shubham?
My dear king, although Kali Yuga is full of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. It is that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So Kali Yuga is full of faults, but there is one good quality about this age. So just by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So we can become free from material bondage and we will be promoted to the spiritual world just by chanting of the holy names. So we can reach Krishna's abode, Krishna's planet, just by chanting of the holy names. And Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also said, Yagyanam Japa Yagnosmi, of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names Japa. So among all sacrifices, chanting of the holy names is best. And this is from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antilila 2016. Vani, can you read Vani? Okay. Nam Nam Akari Bahudani Sarva Shakti, Tatra Britanya Smaranena Kala, Etadrishitava Kripa Bhagavan Mamati, Durdaivam Idrisham, Ihajani Nanuraga. Who is it, Vani?
My Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name there is all good fortune for the living entity, and therefore you have many names, such as Krishna and Govinda. You have invested all your potencies in those names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them.
Said here that, my Lord, in your holy name there is all good fortune for the living entity. And therefore you have many names such as Krishna and Govinda. And Krishna also has invested all his potencies, all his power and strength in his names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them. So there are no hard and fast rules for chanting Krishna's names. So do's of chanting, positive sides of chanting. Chant the Panchatattva mantra before starting to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So before chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we chant Panchatattva mantra. Do you know Panchatattva mantra, anybody? Okay. Yes, Kushi, who's on me, Kushi?
Yes, Prabhuji. I know Panchatattva mantra.
Yes, please chant.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Shrasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Yes, Kushi, very good. Very good. So this is our Panchatattva mantra. So before chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we chant Panchatattva mantra because we ask forgiveness and from Panchatattva mantra. So we ask forgiveness from Panchatattva mantra that they will forgive all our offenses and mistakes during the chanting of the holy names. So we are seeking their mercy and grace. This is our Panchatattva mantra. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Chant audibly, loud enough to hear the mantra. So when you chant Hare Krishna mantra, chant loudly, chant audibly, not very loudly that all your neighbors will come to you, but quite enough loudly that you yourself will hear. Pronounce each name distinctly. So you should hear each and every word of the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chant with respect, devotion, and concentration. So we should chant with respect, devotion, and concentration. So you can see this person, this devotee, he's explaining to them how to chant Hare Krishna mantra. You can chant in any place, sitting or walking, facing any direction. Okay, clear? You can chant in any place, sitting or walking, facing any direction. You can chant at any time. However, it is recommended to chant during the early morning hours, Brahma Muhurta. So you can chant during the whole day, but the best to chant in morning to finish your rounds in morning. But even if you chant in afternoon and at night, that's okay, but better to finish your rounds in morning. You can chant either before or after taking bath. So you can chant before bath or after bath, but best is to chant after bath when your body will become clean. It's recommended to chant by keeping count. So can you see this is our beads Japamala. This is Japa bag. So we put Japamala in Japa bag and we chant Hare Krishna mantra. And can you see this counter? This counter. This one. So whenever we finish one round, we take one bit and put it up so that we can remember how many rounds we finished. So that's very easy to remember how many rounds we finished. Dawns of chanting. Now we speak about dawns of chanting. One should not chant only a portion of the Mahamantra. So when we chant Hare Krishna mantra, we are taking beats and with our big finger and middle finger. We don't use our index finger. And we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But we should not chant only a portion of the Mahamantra. For example, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And then we go to next beat, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this thing should not happen, and we should chant full Mahamantra on one beat. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then we go to next beat. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And when we chant in this way, it will become like one round. One should not chant on the Krishna beat of the Japamala. So can you see this very, very, very big beat? This beat is called Krishna beat. So we should not chant on the Krishna beat. One should not chant while reading a book or newspaper or watching TV, etc. So when you chant Hare Krishna mantra, please don't read book or newspaper or watch TV or something like that. So when you chant Hare Krishna mantra, just chant Hare Krishna mantra, that's all. Don't do anything else. And benefits of chanting, why we should chant why we should chant. So if you chant Hare Krishna mantra, we will be relieved from our previous sins. We will be relieved from our previous reactions of our previous sins. Okay. And we will be relieved from the unwanted drives and habits. In our present condition, we are slaves to any physical, whimsical thoughts and desires. So we will be relieved from our unwanted drives and habits by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And we will feel a lot of freedom from anxiety and stress. So we'll be free from anxiety and stress. Just look at them. There's so much happiness, smiling. We also get peace of mind. You'll have peace of mind, real happiness, enlightenment. So just look at them. They're so pure just by chanting of the holy names. And now, what people say about chanting Hare Krishna. So some people have been asked about Hare Krishna mantra. So what did they say? Harshita, read Harshita.
It is really a process of having a realization of God.
Yes, so do you know this person? This is George Harrison. So George Harrison said it's really a process of understanding God. So George Harrison also joined ISKCON and he was participating in ISKCON. Kushi, please read Kushi.
Everything started happening for me when I began chanting Hare Krishna.
So that is by John Claude Helich, youngest director of CM Inc., France, 29 years old. Please read Purva.
Chanting Hare Krishna has made a tremendous impact in my life.
So this is by Albert Ford, owner Ford Motors. So you know Ford Motors Company. So this Albert Ford is grandson of that Ford. So this Albert Ford is a devotee and he's chanting Hare Krishna. Rishab, please read Rishab.
I've been chanting Hare Krishna for many years and I have never found anything more pleasurable.
This is N.D. Desai, leading Indian industrialist. Please read Vani.
Chanting Hare Krishna has helped me face all the ups and downs in my life with a great confidence and peace of mind.
This is by Hrishikesh Mahatal, Mahatal Fabrics. Please read Harshita.
Chanting is helping me giving up bad habits. It changed my vision of thinking.
So this is by Anne Shofus, Dutch model. So Anne Shofus started chanting Hare Krishna mantra, and before she was looking like this, and after some time she started looking like that. Pushe, please read Pushe.
By starting to chant Hare Krishna, I feel tremendous happiness.
So this is Vicky Overton, leading European model. So Vicky Overton started feeling a lot of tremendous happiness after chanting all the Hare Krishna mantra. Purva, please read Purva.
My outlook towards life is a lot more brighter after starting to associate with Hare Krishna devotees and chanting the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is Bruce Klingberg, Army officer. Please read Rishab.
Chanting makes me feel close to God.
This is Marco Ferrini. It is top furniture designer. So you have heard, I think, about Ferrini. So his designer is chanting Hare Krishna. Unmute the chat.
Mahamantra significantly reduces stress, depression, and the mood of ignorance, and considerably increases mode of goodness.
So this is by David Wolf. David Wolf. He's a master of social science program at Florida State University. And he's a researcher who's studying the effects of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Vani?
When I'm stressed out, I chant. It's one thing which charges my batteries, it clears my mind, and brings me back in focus.
So this is by Paul Blair, printing executive. Ashita?
When I am nervous, I find chanting very climbing. I do not get shaker happy little things.
By Miss Sally Rayleigh. She's merchandiser. Kushi?
Chanting Hare Krishna and reading authorized books on Krishna consciousness has brought me great peace.
Ramesh Lal. She's a Toronto Health Spa proprietor, so he said like that. So you also can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and be happy. So please chant this Hare Krishna mantra and be happy. Okay, so please chant this Hare Krishna mantra. So that was our presentation. Thank you very much for your attentiveness. So if you have any questions, any doubts, you want to add anything, please raise your hand and unmute. If you have any questions, you want to ask anything, please raise your hand or unmute. Okay, I can see no questions you have. So we can chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra together. We can chant Hare Krishna mantra together. So please kindly unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Kushe, Hare Krishna, thank you that you stayed till the end. Hare Krishna Kushe,
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So, do you want to ask any questions? Do you have any doubts, or you want to add anything?
Sometimes when I chant, I can't concentrate on God. Like I'm chanting and my mind is elsewhere. So how can I overcome that?
So, try to chant loudly that you can hear. Try to hear each and every word. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And sometimes, yes, mind goes somewhere else, but you try to pull it back. So pull it back to the holy name again. So try to pull it back again and again, and gradually it will become normalized. Okay, Kushi?
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Kushi. Very good. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you that you stayed to the end. And if you don't have any questions, I think I will stop. Then. Vanchakapatrubhyascha kripasinubhyevacha Pachitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.